Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. It's early in the morning on Tuesday and I found something that I thought was pretty interesting that you guys might want to hear me read. It's an article that was published back in 2004 and it was a study for the Pentagon on climate change. And like I said, it was back in 2004 that this article came out. And it came out in 3 or 4 different publications. I never run across it, so I thought that I'd read it off. Now, it's like 3 or 4 different articles in the same link. I'll leave the link. But they all pretty much describe the same thing. I picked the one that was the easiest to read and the one that kind of compiled all the information in the shortest amount of reading. That way it wouldn't take too long to read this. But before I start, I want to say thank you very much to everyone. As you can see, over the weekend, the Alaska Prepper channel reached 1,000 subscribers. I think we're sitting at a little over 1,000 right now, and I want to thank every one of you that has subscribed to the channel. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this in a previous video, but what I'm going to do as a show of my appreciation is for the next 4 Fridays in a row, every Friday, I am going to review a freeze-dried meal, either a breakfast meal or a lunch/dinner meal. And to all of the subscribers that view that video and like and comment that video, I am going to enter them into a drawing. And on the following Friday, when I do my next review, before the ending of that video, I will go ahead and say who the winner is and mail one of those freeze-dried meals off to whoever wins. And now it's just going to be for everyone that comments and likes the video. And what I will do is I will compile all of the comments and likes, whoever did that, into a spreadsheet, and then I'll throw it into a random generator and it'll generate whoever it is that we're going to pick for the free meal. Okay, so again, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I thought it would take me about 30 years to get 1,000 subscribers, but it looks like people want to be, woken up to the fact that we need to prepare. So I hope that we keep going higher and reaching more people, and with your help, that will happen, because the more people that hear about the need to be prepared, the better. So hopefully you'll never have to use your preps because you need to, but because they're about to expire. So hopefully you can store things away that'll last 30 years and you'll never have to use them, but you'll only use them because they're about to expire. So again, thank you. I'm not going to go on about this. So thank you very much to everyone again. I sincerely do appreciate all of your guys' support. So let me go ahead and start off here. Like I said, I'll leave the link to this in the description if you all want to go and read every single scenario. Well, these are like worst case scenarios from the Pentagon on what could happen due to climate change. And like I said before, it doesn't matter whether the climate changing is due to one factor or another, okay? What matters is that we're prepared for it, okay? So I'm going to start off. Dramatic climate change could become global security nightmare. And this article was by Seth Borstein Knight Ritter, newspaper, February 23, 2004. So it was by Seth Borstein Knight for the Ritter newspaper, and it was published 23 February 2004. Okay, so Washington, a dramatic climate change could suddenly become a global security nightmare, warns a worst-case scenario assembled by professional futurists at the behest of the Pentagon. In a report released to Knight Rider on Monday, they write that while a drastic climate change is unlikely, it would challenge United States national security in ways that should be considered immediately. The plausible consequences include famine in Europe and nuclear showdowns over who controls what's left of the world's water, the futurists conclude. The report, commissioned by the Department of Defense of Net Assessment, its internal think tank, reflects the Pentagon's policy of planning for the worst, said author and longtime Pentagon consultant Peter Schwartz. Schwartz said in a Knight Ridder interview that while the climate change envisioned is drastic, it is worthy of advanced planning as several other high-impact scenarios that came true, such as planning in 1983 for the end of the Soviet Union, in 1995 for the possibility that terrorists might crash planes into the World Trade Center. While the Bush administration has generally not considered global warming much of an immediate threat, I did not write an implausible scenario, Schwartz said. It could play out, he said, in the next 15 years. Or he said in the next 5 to 15 years. So we're actually still in the time frame that he wrote out where the scenario could play out. Unlike most climate change studies, which examine global warming over more than a century, the Pentagon study is based on an abrupt climate change the scientists say has happened in the past and could happen again soon. In a climate scenario that Schwartz and fellow futurist Doug Randall called the Weather Report 2010 to 2020, average annual temperatures dropped by 5 degrees Fahrenheit in North America and Asia and by 6 degrees in Europe, while temperatures rise by 4 degrees in the southern hemisphere. The sudden combination of cooling and warming would occur if there were a major change in the ocean's temperatures, current, and salinity. One of the driving forces of climate is a kind of global latitude. This last happened 8,200 years ago. A 2002 National Academy of Sciences report warned that if it happened again, it would increase the possibility of large, abrupt, and unwelcome regional or global climate events. The Pentagon Commission report imagined the unthinkable, as its writers put it, sketches what could happen next. Imagine Eastern European countries struggling to feed their population with a failing supply of food, water, and energy, eyeing Russia, whose population is already in decline, for access to its grains, minerals, and even energy supply. Or picture Japan suffering from flooding along its coast cities and contamination of its fresh water supplies, eyeing Russia's Sakhalin Island oil and gas reserves as an energy source. Envision Pakistan, India, and China, all armed with nuclear weapons, skirmishing at their borders over refugees, access to shared rivers, and arable land. Military showdowns could be fast and furious, the report speculates. In 2015, conflict in Europe over supplies of food and water leads to strained relations. In 2022, France and Germany battle over the Rhine River's water. The U.S. Defense Department seals off America's borders to stanch floods of refugees from Mexico and the Caribbean. In 2025, as energy costs increase in nations struggling to cope with warmer and colder weather, the United States and China square off over access to Saudi Arabian oil. America could weather the climate change best, albeit with declining agricultural fertility. According to the report, Europe would be hit hard with food shortages and streams of people leaving. China will be hurt by colder winters and hotter summers, triggering widespread famine. The futurists' grim study began a year ago when Andrew Marshall, the director of the Office of Net Assessment, the Pentagon's chief think tanker, started taking the National Academy of Science report seriously. Schwartz, the chairman of Global Business Networks of Emeryville, California, said Marshall challenged him. Suppose the abrupt guys are right. What would happen? Schwartz had previously done futuristic scenarios for the Pentagon, Royal Dutch Shell, and filmmaker Steven Spielberg. The Defense Department continuously looks ahead to ensure that we are prepared in the future for any contingency, Marshall said in a prepared statement issued Monday. Investigating consequences of climate change is worth looking into, said F. Sherwood Rowland, a Nobel Prize-winning earth sciences professor at the University of California, Irvine. Pentagon people are not known as wild environmentalists, Rowland said. Randall, the study's co-author, said the exploration didn't reflect a change in the Bush administration's view of climate change. It's an unlikely event, and the Pentagon often thinks of the unthinkable. That's all this was, said Randall. For a study on an abrupt climate change scenario and its implications for the United States national security, and it shows off a website that we can go to. Maybe I'll take a look at that one next and do a video on that one if it seems interesting enough. But that was it pretty much, ladies and gentlemen. So this was a study that was done all the way back in 2004 when President Bush Sr. was in office, and pretty much he disregarded this study. And it makes sense that he would disregard the study because politicians only really care about one thing, and that's getting reelected. Well, I would say that most politicians do. Only care about one thing, and that's being reelected. And one of the things that got me about this article was the part that says this last happened 8,200 years ago. So these guys are studying this climate change that they're predicting in the future, or are said to say that may happen in the future. They're studying this and saying it can happen because it happened 8,200 years ago. Well, what they keep failing to realize is that 8,200 years ago, we did not have the industrialization, and the pollution that we have now. Okay? Everyone that keeps saying that the climate is our fault, that we are the reason why the Earth's climate is changing in the drastic ways that it is, that it's our fault. I've heard some people saying now on documentaries and stuff like that, they're saying that now global warming is inducing global cooling, which it doesn't matter to me which one it is. But anyways, 8,200 years ago, we did not have the kind of pollution, deforestation, and things going on with the environment that we have today because of human involvement. So why do they keep saying, the powers that be, the ones that pull the strings, why do they keep saying that this climate change, be it warming or cooling, is a result of human activity? That's my biggest problem with the climate change activists, is that most of them, or especially the ones that are being granted by a government, so pretty much the ones that are being paid to do the research by a government, most of them are saying that it's because of us, because of human activity. When here, just one paper, and I'm sure hundreds of thousands that are out there, states that back 8,200 years ago, we had the same problems we're having now. And that we should predict that in the near future, we're going to have those same problems they had 8,200 years ago. Because the climate is a sine wave. Okay, the climate is nature. This is how I see it. The way I see the climate is this. The climate is nature. It's a sine wave. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down in cycles. Some cycles may not be the exact same. Some of them may be totally different, but there are still cycles. They're up and down cycles, just like in nature happens. There's 4 seasons. All right, in most places, there's 4 seasons. You go up, you go down, you go up, you go down, and then you do it all over again. Just like in nature, the Earth goes around the sun goes around the galaxy. okay, and so forth. You know, it's nature. Nature is nothing but cycles. You know, we live, we die. And then what happens after that? Someone else repeats that same cycle. And billions of people repeat the same cycle. So I'm scrambling on, and I shouldn't be, because I'm probably starting to sound like a fool. But if you all want to take a look at this article, I will leave the link. I just thought that it was pretty interesting that back in 2004, the government paid for a study to be done, and then they pretty much just discarded it. And just remember, ladies and gentlemen, that if you don't take care of yourselves, no one's going to take care of you. The government's not going to come and take care of you. They may be there for the first 2 or 3 days with some Oreos, donuts, and some coffee, and a couple of tarps and cots. But, you know, soon after that, they'll be gone, okay? They will be gone after a few days. After they get their photo op, they will be gone. All right? And I wanted to leave you with one last thing. Let's see here. Bear with me. I had to look this up real quick. I think I might have it saved over here. Let's see. Okay. I'll have to bring it up in my next one. Yeah, I thought I had something ready to show you guys, but I don't. I'll have to look it up in my next one. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you all have a great day. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I hope it was a long weekend for most of you. And I do hope that you have a great day and that you have an even better week. Remember now, this Friday, I'm going to do the video reviewing a freeze-dried food. I've got a couple different types that I want to review. And like I said, I will be giving away a freeze-dried food packet of the same kind to someone on the following week, to give everyone at least a week to take a look at the video. Okay? Oh, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I find it. I looked up, if you look up the definition of a politician, it comes up with 2 definitions. I'm going to read them off to you real quick. And you can decide which one of these you think is more accurate. Politician, a person who is professionally involved in politics, especially as a holder or a candidate for an elected office. That's the first definition. The second definition is a person who acts in a manipulative and devious way, typically to gain advance within an organization. You guys can decide which one of those is more accurate. So let me leave it off with that, ladies and gentlemen. I have to get ready to go to work. Remember to be good to each other when good things happen. I'm sorry. Let me start that over again. Remember, I'm pretty excited today. And I haven't even had my coffee. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. And remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place. And you know that it will be a better place. Hey, by the way, my wife painted that painting for me. I thought I'd showcase that today since it's pretty chilly outside. It's only about 3:30 in the morning right now. So I don't want to be stepping outside. It's kind of chilly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper, and I'm out.